Yeah, these people are straight harassment. They've been harassing me for days now. And it's got to be illegal. Coming around my residence, threatening me. They've already cited me, and yet they're constantly harassing me at the same time. So there's got to be some sort of rules or laws in regards to them coming on my property and trying to harass me. So I want to get supervisor names and go over these guys' heads, because obviously they don't know what they're messing with. Praise be to y'all. But you can definitely see who these people are. But I want to see if I can get my other camera. If I can get my other camera. Not sure how this is all coming up on video, but this is definitely some form of harassment coming to my property, trying to just trying to do something. But again, there's got to be some laws against harassment. This lady didn't like the fact that I wasn't bowing down to her authority, and so now she's trying to harass a brother, you know. But harassment is still harassment, and it's still against the law. So we'll see how they do with you know, with just putting this on in the public sphere, so that people saying it can know that they got supposedly animal control turning into harassment, turning into stalkers. So we'll see. But I'm definitely get some names so I can add to this video and post it, so that the people of Sanger, people of the world, know what we're dealing with here in Sanger when it comes to these people trying to harass law-abiding citizens. So we'll see what the police officer has to say, and whether they're lawfully able to harass a citizen. We'll see. See what public opinion has to say. See what their stuff seems like in the light of day. Apparently not too well.
What's going on? I know they told me. I just want to hear what's going on your behalf.
They're harassing me.
Okay. Do you mind explaining what they're doing?
They're coming by. She's already cited me, so I'm supposed to see her in court, my day in court, and now she's trying to harass me by coming by every day.
Which one?
Both of them. Well, actually, it's her morally, because she brought this other lady to try to make what she's doing seem official. You know, because when you're doing it by yourself, it makes it seem like you're, you know, stalking someone. So she just brought this other person just to try to make it seem as if
Code enforcement or animal control?
it's animal control. She's the one that first started this thing. She was mad because she came by my house and I wouldn't let her inside, you know, because she had an attitude. And you know, I was like, you know what, I'm not trying to respond to all that. So she was already mad at that, and then she was trying to make it seem as if I was doing something wrong with my dogs or whatever have you, and which of course I don't agree with, because that's what we have our day in court for. And so she gave me the citation. Fine, I'll deal with that with the judge. But now she's trying to constantly come to my house, look in my house, trying to look through my gates, see what's going on. I mean, she's stalking me.
Did she explain to you why she's doing that, Tom? Sorry, my eyes.
Well,
did she explain to you why she's doing that type of? She's coming and checking up on the house.
Well, checking up on the house is
the opportunity to let her explain that.
Did I give her the opportunity? I mean, she's at my house. I mean, she can sit there and talk if she wants to.
But did did she explain to you what's her purpose here? Do you have an idea why she's here?
Well, she cited me. As far as I'm concerned,
What's the citation for?
because my dog got loose.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the citation says. She was saying some other stuff, but the citation that she actually gave me was just because they got loose.
Oh.
And so now she's trying to stalk me because, again, she didn't like the fact that I wasn't kowtowing to what she was saying. As far as I was concerned, you give me your citation, I'll see you in court.
Yeah.
I let my lawyer, or whoever I'm dealing with, deal with that in court. Not here, not in my residence, not stalking me, not coming by, checking, looking every day, hours a day, all kind of hours a day. I mean, this is ridiculous, and I'm sure it cannot be lawful for somebody to stalk you.
Her job as an animal control officer
Sure.
to make sure that the animals are
Sure.
properly stored and properly fed and have adequate
Yeah,
water.
but they have water and they have food. So
do you know? Did she explain to you that it's against the law to chain up the dogs?
yeah, okay,
In 3 hours?
yeah, but is she here with a timer? Does she have a stopwatch?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, so
Not that I know.
yeah. So if she doesn't have a stopwatch, she's just using that as an excuse to stalk me.
So her job is still to check on, especially if people are calling and saying that.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a right to go into my home, right?
Did she go into your home?
No, but this is the point that
She didn't make entrance.
yeah. So, but there's no way to get to those animals without going to my home, or without looking over my fence, or trying to go into my property. She doesn't have a lawful entry into my house. She has no search warrant, huh?
She's not entering or searching. She's doing a welfare check.
Okay.
She was trying to come at you as far as, hey, we got this call that dogs are not being properly storage or having the proper food or water.
Yeah, but they do.
And that's what her job is, to check on the dogs.
Okay, but I already told her they do.
If they don't have water or dogs,
I already told her they do.
The dogs can be taken away.
Oh, I'm sure they could, but if I'm telling a person they do, then they do. I mean, unless she has some sort of a warrant, unless she has some sort of a legal right to go into my residence, I guess she's just gonna take my word for it.
You're right on that.
Yeah, I know.
If you don't give her the opportunity to show, hey, my dogs are fine. Look, they're here. They have dogs.
I told her already.
And the water.
But she doesn't have the right to go to my residence, so she knocked on my door. I told her, and that should have been the end of it.
But her thing is that she's wanting to make sure that everything's properly.
As long as she has legal right to. If the only legal right that she has is to sit here and ask me a question, then I've answered her, and that should be good enough. Unless she has a legal right to do something more. And I'm not compelled to let her enter my property without being compelled legally.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that she has to check on the dogs, make sure that, like I said.
Okay, she is checking on the dog by asking me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's her checking on the dogs. Anything more than that.
My thing is, instead of her coming every day, because she's gonna come every day and check.
Yeah, but that's still stalking because she's not gonna get into my house. I'm not gonna let her in. It is stalking because I've given her the answer.
She's doing her job.
Okay, well then, if she's doing her job, then she shouldn't have any problem with giving me a supervisor, so that I can go up the chain. Because obviously, doing her job isn't coming to one of the only black homes in this place, constantly harassing me.
But there's multiple, even code enforcement here for several other.
Because she brought the code enforcement here. I mean, this is not an accident. It's just not like, oh yeah, these two dynamic duos coming in the same day at the same time. Whoa, what a coinkydink. No, it's not a coinkydink.
Code enforcement talk to?
I've talked to code enforcement before. Not today, not anytime recently. But with code enforcement, just because again, I know my rights, obviously. But with code enforcement, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to talk to the homeowner. I'm a renter, I'm not an owner. So in reality, she shouldn't even be addressing me. She should be addressing the owner of the property.
Are you giving him the homeowner's information?
They already should have it. I've dealt with them before. This isn't the first time I've seen a code enforcement or whomever this isn't the first time. It's not the first time I've seen them. So they have the information. So again, this is harassment. They're doing this as a harassment tactic. As far as they're concerned. I mean, obviously I understand, but it isn't going to work on me because I'm not easily intimidated.
Nobody's trying to intimidate.
Well, it's a form of intimidation if you know that you're supposed to talk to the owner of the house. You know that I'm not the owner of the house. So trying to talk to me aggressively is intimidation. It's like if a police officer, is holding onto your gun. It seems like I used to be a police officer in the military. That is a form of aggression. Okay, that's why you don't touch your gun unless there's a reason to. Now, if I have a weapon or if I'm coming aggressively, that gives you the reason to touch your gun. But we're having a conversation right here. We're just having a real regular conversation, and you're grabbing your gun, you're grabbing your holster. That isn't justified other than intimidation. Because then the other person who's saying you grabbing your gun becomes afraid as you're intimidating them. Now, you may say, hey, I'm just doing it because this guy's getting my nerves, whatever have you. Maybe she was angry or upset because I wasn't kowtowing to what she was saying. You know, because I think she asked me one time, she was like, did you know this? Did you know that? I was like, you know, I understand, I speak English. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm gonna go call the police officers. You know, so it's obvious that she was upset because I wasn't kowtowing to, you know, her authority or whatever. Because again, I know my rights. I mean, it is what it is. She could ask to come in, I can say no. Now, me telling her no doesn't give her the excuse to harass me. It doesn't give her the excuse. It's not like, oh, if only you just let them into your house, and even though they don't have the legal right to go in there, but if you let them in, then maybe they'll leave you alone. That doesn't work that way. I know my rights. I answered her question, and that should be the end of it.
All right. Is there any reasonable that you can at least allow her in the backyard where the dogs are? Not necessarily in your home. I get that. You have a right to.
This is my property, from the inside and the outside.
Her job is to make sure the dogs are safe.
Legally, it's her job. She can do her job legally. She can't do her job otherwise. And as long as she needs my permission to go into the backyard, it's not her legal right to go there if I say no.
So why don't you just let her in the backyard where the dogs are at?
Because this is a woman harassing me. As far as I'm concerned, you know, it is not of my interest to let someone who's harassing me come into my home. You know, it's like some guy whistling at a girl in the street, like, hey baby, harassing her. She ain't want to be interested in that dude. And somebody said, well, why don't you go ahead and give me your number, man. He'll leave you alone if you give me go out with a date with him. He'll leave you alone if you go out with a date with him.
It's completely different.
No.
I want to make sure that the dogs are not.
Yeah, but because you're not putting. I know, because you're not injecting the harassment aspect. You're acting as if it's just her job. She's just doing her job. She just, you know, you're no different than anybody else. She do the same thing with this white person over here. She do the same thing with that Mexican guy on the other side of me who has animals as well, who has dogs that get out as well. You're acting as if there's nothing uncouth about her request. Okay, so that's your perspective. But me being the one who's feeling as if I'm being stalked has a different perspective, obviously. As far as I'm concerned, she's not doing this is not just her job. She was upset when I first ran into her the first time. She ticketed me. She was upset that I didn't appear to be scared or distressed because she gave me a citation. And so now she's trying to increase the pressure. Okay? That's from my perspective. And as far as I'm concerned, if someone's stalking you, if someone's trying to intimidate you, the last thing I'm going to do is going to give her the ability to come into my home and look around my stuff. I mean, it just doesn't seem.
Not looking at your stuff, looking at the dogs. That's her main priority. Yeah. Right? It's different than looking around inside your house, right? And that's what she doesn't want to do. She doesn't want to go inside your house.
Okay, let me give you another example. A police officer pulls a guy over, a black guy over, and says, you know what, you mind if I take a look around your car? I mean, you say you don't have anything. He has no legal right to look at the guy's car. But he asks the guy, you mind if I do? And the guy's like, you know what, officer? Because I'm black.
Why can't it be Hispanic?
But I'm black. Am I Hispanic? No, I'm black. So I'm looking at it from a black perspective. I mean, I'm sure you can understand that. Yeah. If I was asking you a story from your past, from your history, you would give me an Hispanic story, and so forth and so on. So the reason why I'm saying is black, because I'm black. Okay? So I'm looking at it from my perspective, not your perspective or somebody else's perspective. But anyway, he asks the guy, going to check your car. Now, the person who's in the car feels as if this cop doesn't seem like he's doing his job. It seems like there's something personal there. Maybe there's a racial bias or something. The guy feels that way. Now, whether that may be the truth or not, I don't know. But the guy feels that way, right? He has two choices. He can have this cop check his car, or he can say no, because it's a legal right to say no, unless there's some reason to why they have to. Okay? The first thing this person does is, oh, sure, no problem. I got nothing to hide. Right? Yeah, I feel there's some racial bias here, but who cares? What could that cop do, right? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Guy moves out of the car, looks around. Oh, looky, I found some weed. Hey, I wasn't there. Well, I see it here, so you gotta go to jail now. And this has actually happened in real life, obviously. You know, I'm sure you watch the internet, I'm sure you watch YouTube, I'm sure you watch Facebook. There's actually police officers who've been caught with their body camera planting drugs and so forth and paraphernalia in people of colors, minorities, if you want to, you know, make it bigger, cars. That would have been, they wouldn't have been able to do that if that minority sensed the danger and just exercised their right to say no. That's the same thing here, right? I already sense there's a bias. I can feel it, you know? So, as far as I'm concerned, it makes no sense to give those who are stalking me, trying to intimidate me, free access to my yard, to my house, to anything of mine, especially if they don't have a legal right to do it. I mean, they show me a search warrant or something of that nature. I'm like, hey, that's what the law says, search warrant. But if you're asking me, can I come into your house and look around and go into your backyard? I'm going to say no. I mean, it just makes sense to me. Rather than have to deal with, you know, whatever they may concoct. Because it's obviously that they're looking for something, from my perspective. You give somebody a citation, you deal with it in court. Yeah. Yeah, but animal control or police officer can be biased. I mean, just because they have a job, just because they have a little badge on their vehicle, doesn't mean that they're not human. So, like I'm telling you, you know, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with them, you know, and so I'm not going to do it because it doesn't make sense to me.
What is it going to take for her not to come back?
Me to talk to her supervisor and see what her supervisor wants to do about it. And that's usually how I fixed it last time. Because see, this isn't the first time, right?
But the thing is, if the dogs are getting loose.
Yeah, but are they loose today? They're not getting loose. Yeah, so they got loose or got cited for that. That was the end of it. They hadn't loose today. They haven't been loose since then. Anything more than that is something else. It's not just her job, as far as I'm concerned. If it's just her job, then she should be able to explain it to her supervisor, and I should be able to explain it to her supervisor, and her supervisor should be able to tell me, you know what, looking at the regulations that I don't know, that her supervisor would know. This is what she should be doing, and she's just doing what she's supposed to be doing, you know. And then if that's the case, well, hey, supervisor, you want to come look at the dogs? Hey, there's no bias there. But I'm already feeling there's a situation with her, and so I don't want to deal with her in that regard. I mean, it's simple.
No, I understand.
Yeah. Now, if you could get their work numbers, because when I'm talking to a police officer, I'm asking for their police ID number or whatever have you. Not that I want, because you seem to be, you know, just doing your job, right?
I'm just trying to hear.
Yeah, I know. You're just doing your job. That's the point. And your thought is, hey, you know, she's just doing her job too. But you know, from my perspective, that's not the case, officer. You know, if and that same thing if it was with you. If I was driving and you was like, hey, pull over the car now, you know, and then you gave me a ticket. Then 2 days later, I'm seeing you drive by my car. And then 3 days later, I see you drive by my car. I'm like thinking to myself, wait a minute. There's something more going on here, you know? So in my perspective, of my own safety, officer, I just want their ID numbers and their supervisor numbers, their supervisor telephone number. So that I can go ahead, go up the chain, and talk to the supervisor. You know, the supervisor, somewhere I've heard through their perspective. I'm listening to the resident, the citizen, and everything they're doing is uncouth. I mean, it's couth. Good to go. Then I'll go ahead and say, you know, supervisor, if you want to come check on the dogs, no problem.
Is it only the supervisor, or would you allow me to go check on the dogs on behalf of her?
No, I want the supervisor because see, it's nothing to you, but they think that they can use the police as a bludgeon.
But the supervisor is a police too.
Maybe, but the supervisor is above them. See, now I'm not saying that you're below them, but I'm saying they call you when you come. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as they wouldn't call you if they thought that they had any worry that you would see them in a different light. All right, maybe this is because you coming to me today, you saying that you was appearing to believe that they were just doing their job. So, to them, you're a safe bet because that's the means in which they do their work. They have a problem with somebody, they call the police backs them up to do what they need to do. So that's part of a system, right? Going above them to their supervisor, that supervisor isn't beholden to those who he employs, those who are... Yeah, sure. But a supervisor has the power to do something, to make change. You know what I mean? Hey, you guys are...
Right? And they got more years than I do.
Yeah, well...
So my supervisor and him, we have the same powers.
Yeah.
His thing is he has more experience.
Sure.
He has stripes on his shirt.
Sure. But I like going over somebody's head versus somebody on the same plane. I mean, these people, they think that what they're doing is, they think that no one's seeing them, that no one sees what they're doing, that no one is going to challenge the fact that they're doing these harassing actions, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. That they're doing these threatening actions, as far as I'm concerned.
How many times has she driven by?
Several times. Today? Several times. Well, I mean, several times. I mean, it's the environment of fear, right? I mean, I don't have to count how many times you come by if I know that you're coming by, right? You know.
So how many times have you seen her today?
Well, about 3 times, pretty much. You know, but it's not even the amount, because I'm in my house. You know, right? I should be seeing her if she has a citation from me, right? Like the day when she came and she wanted to give me a citation, that justified her interaction with me. Because you gave me a citation. Here's your citation, sir. I'll see you in the date of that citation. Have a good day. Okay, fine. Seeing her outside of a reasonable reason is no longer part of her job, right? And now she sees some of the citations. She's not going to see. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm seeing this right here. Okay, sure. You see something, you do something. But this preemptive, you know, I'm watching you. You know, that's not her job. That's not her job. That's not her job. You know? So, in my perspective.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want their supervisors' names and phone numbers. All right. If now they both have the same supervisor, even better. If they have 2 different supervisors, well, I should be able to request from them their supervisor's name and telephone number.
Yeah,
yeah. So but you're the person here because you say you're keeping the peace. You're peace officer. That's why I'm asking you, right? So I'm asking you, can you get their supervisor's name and telephone number, and I'll take it up with their supervisor and their supervisors. And if their supervisors are down with what they're doing, right, then I'll go ahead and let their supervisor have access to look around. Because even though I'm letting him have access to look around, he still has the power to change the circumstances. To either tell me, okay, this right here is what they're talking about. You need to fix that, correct that, and they'll stop coming by. Or I don't see what they're talking about. These animals are being well taken care of in terms of the code of the city, yeah. And they really have no reason to keep on bothering you, sir.
And that's the only reason why they're here, is
yeah,
just to make sure that the dogs are safe.
Yeah, but that's what you say. That's not what I say. Again, that's from your perspective, being in the same matrix as them. Yeah. You know, I don't expect you to say, hey, you know what, these guys, something's off with these guys. No, because you're all working in the same system. That's why I want their supervisor. Because the supervisor has the power to know whether what they're doing is by the books or what they're doing is not by the books. Same thing with the police. As a former police officer in the military, I mean, my police bros at the time, we could do whatever we wanted to do until that information got above our pay grade. When it got above our level, that's when there were problems, right? And that's the same thing I want to bring to this situation. I don't want to deal with their level anymore. They think they got everything together on their level. I want to kick it up to a higher level, which is their supervisor.
Okay. Let me go get that phone number and I'll come
sure.
Back in, okay?
But you do understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I get your perspective as far as what you want to make sure they're up and up.
Yeah, I want to make sure that they're truly doing what their job is, and that there's not a bias, there's not a reason, they're not bending the rules in order to exact their will on someone who, to them, was not adhering to their will. You know, there's a law and then there's somebody else's law type of deal.
Okay, just give me a few minutes.
All right. Okay, this looks like it's number two. All right, so I asked for these 2 city workers supervisor name and supervisor telephone number. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this up to their supervisor, see whether I can speak with him and let him know my concerns about these 2. I say Batman and Robin, but they're 2 women. You know, so we'll see what their supervisor has to say in regards to this. I mean, but again, we all know what's going on. Obviously, minority household. These 2 women think that they can, push their badge around, try to stalk someone, try to intimidate, try to otherwise coerce impose their will onto a minority. Like, hey, these people are the only black people in the city. You know, they got no advocates. We can go ahead and lean on them for their own purposes. And I mean, obviously, that's not going to happen. I mean, you know, we're not just going to sit back and take it. We're going to bring it to their supervisors and ask their supervisors whether these two are doing what the city requires them to do, or what they're doing, or what they're doing all up to snuff, or are they acting for personal reasons outside of their mandate. So we'll find out soon enough. We will see what they are doing and whether it is legal what they are attempting to do. I mean, they got a lot to say, but I mean, all they asked for was the supervisor's name and phone number, and I could talk to their supervisor and not have to deal with them on their particular level. I know. And if what they're talking about is true, if they got no bias, which I don't believe, but if they, you know, if what they're saying pans out with their supervisor, then I'll let their supervisor come in and take a look around, at my dogs. But if what they're saying, it doesn't come up to snuff, then definitely I'll see them in court. You know, and hopefully I'll be able to use this video as evidence. But we'll see. I'm not sure how the camera is doing or how good the camera is. You know, I don't know. But this is what we got to work with, so I want to work with it. I want to work with it. And in regards to my car, because she was trying to say that my car is non-working. My car does work. I just got a flat tire, and there's nothing wrong with having a flat tire. Yeah.
So, the animal control, the supervisor right now is Sergeant Diaz.
Okay.
This is his work phone, so you can give him a call. You actually give him a call.
For which one? For animal control. What about her?
Her supervisor is Javier. He's a senior code enforcement, and that's her direct immediate supervisor.
Okay.
That's his phone number and the extension number.
Okay. So Javier Vividino?
Something like that.
And what was the other one? The other one's on this side?
Diaz.
And Sergeant Diaz, that's for the animal control?
Yeah, that's her immediate supervisor right now.
Okay.
So he's working right now. If you call him, if he doesn't answer the first time, call him again and then leave a voicemail, and then he'll get back to you.
Okay.
Just let him know that your concerns, and then he can probably explain it to you better than probably I could.
Okay. Well, I mean, as a citizen, my right is to ask for a supervisor. If I could ask for a supervisor in McDonald's, I'm sure I could ask for a supervisor for the police department or animal control or whomever. Yeah.
No, because animal control, they don't have an immediate supervisor. It's just her. But the immediate supervisor for patrol right now is Sergeant Diaz.
Okay, so you're saying that she doesn't have a supervisor for animal control?
It would be the sergeant on duty, and then it would be administration after that, her commander.
Okay, because that's probably another reason why she probably feels as if she can do things without having.
She understands that she can't just go in there.
Yeah, no.
In your house. She knows that.
Yeah,
and that's not what she was about.
Yeah, she was just trying to intimidate me.
Okay.
See, again, I mean, she knows she ain't supposed to. She knows she can't go back there. She asked me. I said no. That should have been the end of it, right? But it wasn't the end of it because again, she was trying to intimidate. See, I know. I already know.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you want to call him, he's working right now.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I do appreciate you coming through. I do appreciate the candor. I mean, again, but you can't whitewash them with your candor. I mean, you can have a conversation with me, pretty reasonable, but you can't what you do is what they do because they're not doing the same thing you're doing.
I agree.
Yeah, they could have came here and said, we're just worrying about the dogs. Are they okay? Yeah, they're fine.
I'll explain that to her, and I'm sure her sergeant will explain that to her. Like, hey, if you want to have a better communication, you can approach it. Same respect that you want to be.
Exactly, respect is respect. It's not just because they have a badge on their card that they get respect. There's people with badges killing my people in the street, like dogs. So the badge isn't going to give them the respect. Communication, you're telling me your perspective, me telling you my perspective, we may meeting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Is how they're going to get the respect. But come by the house, looking around, peeking around, knocking on my door. I mean, beyond the citation, that should have been the end of it. You give somebody a ticket, hey, for driving on the wrong side of the street. That's the end of it, right? You don't come by their house, unless there's a current investigation going on. You can explain it with that. But there ain't no current investigation going on. She got me a ticket, the citation. I'll see her in court. I'll tell the judge about what I think is going on here. But coming by every single day, that's not part of the citations. The citation's already been given. It's already been received. It's already been acknowledged. Her work is done. Unless the dogs get out again.
Yeah. But you got to understand too that when not people that live here, but if people are driving by and they see two dogs hanging out with a chain, and they call us, we have to respond.
Sure, but they're not seeing nothing. This is my house.
They're
in my house. Yeah.
She's still gonna drive around. And
make sure dogs but you understand what I'm saying, though. She didn't tell you that these dogs was outside of my backyard. They're still in my backyard. They're still there. So all this other stuff she's talking about is some sort of theory.
But there's pictures online that people are posting saying these two dogs are all consistently being out.
Who cares? That's online. That could be today. That could have been 6 years ago.
But it's on social media. It has a timestamp. How.
Yeah, but I could take a picture today and upload it 6 months from now. Does that mean that picture was taken the day I uploaded it?
I don't know.
You don't think so?
It could be.
Yeah. Honestly. So you don't think that I'm videotaping you now that I can post this video 6 years from now and say, hey, this guy was doing this to me today because I posted it today. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So that's not good enough. Yeah. Right? We all know that's not good enough. They're just using these things as an excuse to intimidate. Yeah. Right? If it was any real to it, then dogs got out. They come by, they see the dogs out, they give their citation, or they take the dogs if it's warranted, and then they go about their merry day. That's warranted if that chain of events happened. But that chain of events didn't happen. The dogs were out a week or so ago. So they can't then use the dog getting out a week or so ago as justification to harass me every day since. Not to me, not to my perspective, right? And I'll see what their supervisor says, whether their supervisor feels as if a dog getting out a week or so ago gives them justification to constantly engage the owner of the dog every day since, or every other day since. And if that's the case, then my next question to him or her would be, to how long, to what end? You mean they can keep on harassing me all the way to the court date, and did I bring this to the judge? Or are you going to do something about it so that I don't see these people until the court date? I mean, to me, that seems like a reasonable question, because it shows me the extent of their ability, right? You're a police officer. You have your rules and regulations, what you can do, what you can't do. under the law, when a law is being broken or there's a reason, you can then arrest. You can arrest somebody. There's even situations in which you can legally kill someone. But outside of any of those regulations, you pull your gun and blow somebody away, you're going to be treated like a criminal, right? And that's the same thing with these people. They have rules and regulations. I'm not aware of all their rules and all their regulations, but their supervisors should be. And as long as their supervisor has the information that I don't have, then I'm going to ask that supervisor, okay, is this what they're doing okay? Is this what they're doing okay? Is this what they're doing a part of their job mandate? Are they legally able to do this thing? Come to my house all the way to the court date? And if he says yes, then hey, cool. But if he says, the dog was never released, he wasn't out today, he wasn't roaming around, he was in the backyard still, they came to ask you, can you see the dog? You said no. They shouldn't have been there any more than that. And if that's the answer, then, I'm going to expect him to do his job and to put his clamps down on his subordinates so that they do their job and not 1 inch more than they're supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything I could...
You're just like, no, nothing you get with, bro.
All right. I'm getting freaking toasted out here.
I'm black, dog. The sun loves me.
I'm half black, half Puerto Rican, so...
Okay.
I'm used to it.
Okay.
It's better than...
So since you're half black, then you should halfly understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't challenge somebody with power and they're used to not being challenged, then they'll abuse it. Right? They'll abuse it. And it feels like, to me, it feels like an abuse.
Well, if you want to call him right now. That way he can get
you. Yeah, I'm going to call him right now.
All right. Anything I can do for you?
No, you did everything.
All right. Officer Garcia, remember, I was a good guy.
There's no good people with the Most High. But you was a reasonable one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, you have a good one.